The body was found at 4 a.m. Male, mid-30s. No ID, no shoes. 11 miles from the nearest road. You've been in this sector for 6 years. You know what 11 miles in the desert without water means. You call it in. You mark the coordinates. You keep driving. Because there are 3 more crossings active right now, and your sector covers 80 miles of fence. This is Tuesday. Tuesday is a normal day. Level 1. The trainee. You apply online. Background check. Physical. Polygraph. 16 weeks at the academy in Artesia, New Mexico. The academy is harder than you expected and easier than what comes after. You learn immigration law. You learn vehicle operation in terrain that would kill a normal car. You learn Spanish, not classroom Spanish, field Spanish. The kind where you understand what someone is saying when they're scared and talking fast, and their life might depend on whether you catch the right word. You qualify on the P-22-6. You qualify on the shotgun. You qualify on the rifle. You're on border scenarios in simulated terrain. Mark crossings. Mark vehicle stops. Mark tunnels. On your last week, a veteran agent comes to speak to your class. He's been in for 20 years. Southern sector. He's seen things he doesn't describe in detail. He says one thing, you write down. He says, "This job will show you the best and the worst of what people are capable of, sometimes in the same hour." You graduate. You're assigned to the Tucson sector, Arizona. You drive there alone. Level 2. The rookie agent. Your first 6 months, you ride with a senior agent named Carrasco. Carrasco has 12 years in. He's been offered promotion 3 times and turned it down each time. You ask him why. He says, the deck is where agents go to forget why they joined. He says, the desert is where the job actually is. You learn the desert. You learn to read signs, footprints in sand, disturbed brush, water bottles left at intervals, backpacks cut open and abandoned. The specific way a group of 30 people moves through a scrub at night compared to a group of 5. You learn the crossing pattern. Families move slow. Single men move fast. The ones being moved by someone else move in tight clusters and don't look up. 3 weeks in, you intercept a group of 14. 8 adults, 4 children, 2 infants. They've been walking for 2 days. One of the women is carrying a baby who isn't crying anymore. You call for medical immediately. The baby survives. You write the report. You go back out. Carrasco doesn't say anything on the drive back. He doesn't need to. You already understand what this job costs. Level 3. The agent. 2 years in, you work your own cases now. The border isn't a line. It's a system. Scouts on hilltops with radios calling crossing windows. Drivers waiting 10 miles north. Stash houses in Tucson and Phoenix. Money moving south. Products moving north. People moving both directions depending on what they owe. You stop a vehicle on Route 86. Driver is calm. Too calm. You ask him to step out. In the spare tire compartment, 60 pounds of methamphetamine and a phone with 400 contacts. The driver says nothing. His lawyer says everything 3 hours later. The case goes federal. You testify 8 months after the stop. The driver gets 12 years. His boss is still operating. You know this because 6 months after the conviction, you stop another vehicle on the same road with the same packaging and a different driver. That's the job. You don't stop the operation by stopping the driver. You just make it cost more. Level 4. The senior agent. 5 years in. You know this land the way most people know their own house. Every wash, every known crossing point, every water cache location, every ranch where ranchers have called in sightings. You work nights mostly now. Night vision, infrared, remote sensor alerts that ping your phone at 2 a.m. A sensor trips 6 miles east of Sasabe. You drive out. You find a group of 22 people sitting in a wash. No guide, no water. The guide left them 4 hours ago when a sensor tripped further west. He used them as a distraction. This is common. You call for transport. While you wait, one of the men in the group speaks enough English to tell you they paid $30,000 between them to get this far. $30,000 to be left in a wash at 2 a.m. with no water. You think about the driver you arrested 2 years ago. His boss is still operating. You write a report. You go back out. Level 5. The Field Operations Supervisor. 8 years in. You're on a team now. 12 agents, rotating shifts, 18 miles of sector. The job at this level is different. You're not chasing sign anymore. You're managing human beings who chase sign for 12 hours at a stretch and then come back and do it again. You watch your agents the way Carrasco watched you. You look for the ones who are going mechanical, the ones who stop writing full reports, the ones who sit in their vehicle between calls instead of patrolling, the ones who stop making eye contact during briefings. You pull them aside. You don't call it burnout. You call it recalibration. You reassign them to ports of entry for 90 days. Structured work, regular hours, human contact that isn't a crisis. Most of them come back better. Some of them don't come back. You don't blame them. A new policy comes down from Washington. You read it. You implement it. Your opinions about it that you keep to yourself. Because your job is not to have opinions about policy. Your job is to run your sector. You run your sector. Level 6. The Assistant Chief Patrol Agent. 12 years in. You sit in briefings now that are half law enforcement and half politics. Sector resources, congressional oversights, media inquiries, NGO relationships, interagency coordination with ICE, DEA, ATF, state police. A tunnel is discovered under the port of entry at Nogales. Sophisticated, reinforced concrete, rail system, ventilation, lighting. You coordinate the investigation across 4 agencies. The tunnel took 2 years to build. It was operational for 8 months before a tip came in. In 8 months, it moved an estimated $300 million in product. You shut it down. 2 weeks later, your intelligence unit identifies a second tunnel under construction 400 meters east. You brief Washington. Washington sends more resources. You deploy the resources. The tunnel gets finished anyway. You shut down the second one too. There was a third somewhere. There was always a third. Level 7. The Chief Patrol Agent. 15 years in. You command the Tucson Center. 3,700 agents. 262 miles of border. The busiest illegal entry sector in the country. Your decisions appear in newspapers. Your sector statistics appear in congressional testimony. You fly to Washington 4 times a year. You sit across from senators who have never been to a desert crossing at 2 a.m. Some of them ask good questions. Most of them ask questions designed to confirm what they already believe. You answer factually. You do not confirm what they already believe. This makes you unpopular in certain rooms. You don't care about certain rooms. You care about your 3,700 agents and 262 miles. A decision comes down from the administration. New enforcement priorities. New resource allocations. You implement it because you're not elected. Because policy is not your lane. Because your job is to run the sector and you run the sector. You also write a detailed operational memo to your supervisors outlining the specific resource gaps the new priorities create. You document everything. You always document everything. Level 8. The Deputy Commissioner. 19 years in. Washington now. You manage the operational side of Border Patrol nationwide. 21 sectors. 19,000 agents. The entire southern border and half the northern one. The scope at this level is abstract in a way the desert never was. Numbers on briefing slides will represent crossings you'll never see. Agents whose names you'll never know. Policy decisions whose effects you'll understand 6 months after you make them. You miss Carrasco. You wonder if he's still out there. You'll find out through a mutual contact that he retired last year. Bought land in New Mexico. You're not surprised. An administration changes. New priorities. New enforcement posture. New resources. You brief the new leadership. You give them the same factual picture you've given every leadership since you got here. The desert doesn't change based on who's in Washington. The crossings doesn't change. The people moving through them don't change. The job doesn't change. The politics change. You adapt. You document. You keep running the sectors. Level 9. The Commissioner. You run US Customs and Border Protection. 60,000 employees. Every port of entry. Every airport. Every land crossing. Every maritime border. You testify before Congress. You answer questions designed to embarrass you. You answer them anyway. You think about Carrasco on the drive back. He told you on your first week that the desk is where agents go to forget why they joined. You understand now that he was only half right. The desk is where agents go to fight for the people still in the desert. That's why you're here. You think about the body at 4 a.m., 11 miles from the nearest road. You've seen that scene hundreds of times since then. Different coordinates, same story. You are trying to change the story. You don't know if you're winning. Level 10. The Ghost. You retire after 26 years. There's a ceremony. People say things about your career that are true and incomplete at the same time. Because the true version takes 26 years to explain, and this room only has an hour. You drive home through the desert. You take Route 86 on purpose. You pass the spot where you stopped the vehicle with 60 pounds of methamphetamine in the spare tire. You pass the wash where you found 22 people with no water and no guide. You pass the coordinates where you found the body at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday. You know these coordinates by heart. You will know them for the rest of your life. Somewhere right now, an agent is driving a sector road at 2 a.m. A sensor just tripped. He's driving toward it. He doesn't know what he's going to find. He never knows what he's going to find. That's the job. That's always the job.